Hello everyone, it's your boy Rickodebest, and in this video I'll be doing an unboxing on this new Canon Rebel T8i. Okay guys, so here we have the T8i and we're going to take a look to see what's inside the box. Okay, so we have some Canon limited warranty document here. We also have the user manual, we have the strap, we have the charger, and we have the battery. Also in the box here we have the lens, so we're going to take that out in a moment, and the body of the camera. So far on the outside of this box we know this camera is the T8i and it comes with the standard EFS 18 to 55 mm lens, and it says that this camera is 24.1 megapixel, so that's the sensor of the camera. Let me see if I can focus that. There it is. It comes with the ISO for photo, which is 25,600, and for video it is 12,800. It has the dual pixel autofocus, so you should be able to focus quick, and also capable of shooting 4K video. It says it's Wi-Fi Bluetooth, so I'm not sure if it carries Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but we'll get more into it. So first thing, we're going to remove the charger, and this is the charger. We have the battery, and I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. Okay, it comes with a little protection here to prevent the terminal from short circuit. Then we have the strap by Canon, and I'll remove the strap from out of the plastic. So I think it's a pretty standard strap that most Canon cameras come with. We have the lens, so I'll just set the lens right there, and then we have the most important part, which is the camera. So I'll just remove it gently, and it feels pretty light to me from so far, but I'll ensure that I'll get a weight of it by itself without the battery, and also with the battery, and also with the battery plus the lens, standard lens that come in this kit. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've got a kitchen scale here with me, and I'm going to be putting the Canon Rebel T8i on the scale, and as you can see it comes in at 1 pound 1.22 ounces. So I'm gonna put the battery inside the camera and see how much the weight will be. Okay, so I have the battery inside the camera, so let's go ahead and place it on the scale and see what it sits at. So as you can see, it weighs 1 pound 2.70 ounce with the battery in it. So I'm gonna go ahead now and put the lens on the camera. So I've now added the lens to the camera, and I'm gonna put that on the scale and see what the weight of it is. So as you can see, with the standard lens that come with this kit, the camera weighs 1 pound 10.16 ounce. Okay, so now that we have the battery inside the camera, we're just going to go ahead, and before we turn on the camera, let's look at some of the buttons here. So we have the menu button, the function, we have the play button or the preview button, we have the delete button, then we have 4 buttons here in which you could do for your white balance, autofocus, and I believe here there is also a circle here in which you could spin. Then we have the Q button, we have the camera button here, I guess to switch between your live view and viewfinder, and also to do record. We also have a autofocus on button, we have two buttons here in which you could use them to zoom forward and back. On top of the camera we have the auto feature, which is in green. We have the P, we have the TV, AV, M, and we have scene. And not sure what this is, but I believe when you turn on this camera it should tell you on the display. We have this button here, we have the ISO, we have the display, and we have this rolling one here, and we have the one to capture your photos. On the front here we have this button that you will squeeze to remove your lens, and we have a flash on this camera, and from what I can see here the flash is like a manual, so whenever you need it you lift it up. On the T8i in which I have, the flash is auto, so I'm not sure why they do that. Maybe it's a good way to do it. So before I go ahead and turn on this camera, on the left side of the camera here we have two covers. We have one cover here in which it says mic, and the next one I'm not sure what it's for. Also we have a big cover, and the big cover carries HDMI and micro USB. On the other side of the camera we have the memory card slot or door, so you'll have to remove this door and then you'll place a memory card inside of the camera, and then close the door and push it in. On the bottom of the camera we have the mount in point, so you could use it to mount on a tripod, and we have the battery compartment, so you could just remove that and the battery will be right here. So let's turn on this camera. The screen feels a bit thinner or more fragile than my T8i, so I'm gonna just leave it on auto, turn it on. So there's a few things in which I need to do. First thing is to set my time and date, and I will go ahead now and set the date and time. So now that we have run through the setup and set the time and date for this camera, we have the auto function, and it tells you it apply effects after shooting. You have a creative assist, which is right here. Let's change it and put it to program. Okay, so with the program mode you can set it darker or lighter. So to do that you'll have to push this Q button here, or you could push the physical Q button and adjust your exposure. So if you need a more exposure, you need it a darker exposure. So we have TV, and TV gives you shutter priority. So as you can see the example here, if you want to see the water flowing or you want to freeze the water. So I guess to do that is, once you on that menu, you could use this button up top to roll it. I believe you could also use, no, just the one up top you could use to set it how fast or slow. So we're going to AV, and this is the aperture priority, and you could adjust the level of the background blur. So this lens only goes to probably 4 or maybe 3.5. It goes to 4. So the lower you go, it will basically blur the background. The more you go up to the right, it will be more sharp. So if we go to M is manual, in which you could use to manual set all the 3 functions in the camera. So you could set your aperture, you could set the f-stop, and we could set the ISO. Let's go to the next function up top. So this function has like filters, so you could actually choose some filters here. I guess if you are taking place, person, or paint, but it has some filters you could take. I guess you could just use them to upload right away if you are not a person who do editing and just want to add a touch to your photo. So the next one is SCN, which stands for scene. So we have special scene, so I guess you could choose the scene you're looking at, where the portrait, you need a smooth skin or group photo, and it will actually help you. Landscape, so if you're a beginner and you cannot manage the manual mode, that would be a good mode for you. So far I'm actually liking this T8i, which tells you the function up front, because some of these honestly I don't even know what they are. I don't use them. The only thing I use on a camera is manual mode and maybe sometime the auto mode. So that's a good thing there from Canon. Let's jump into the menu and see what the menu is like. So the first menu here we have is the shoot settings, and I guess if you press OK, it will give you some option in which you can use. We have the video settings, so this is the playback settings, I believe. So if we set that, we could basically set the playback settings. So let me try doing that again. Inside that settings, I think we have 4 options. Okay, so we have the histogram. Alright, then we have this Wi-Fi settings, and this Wi-Fi settings give you access to the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth. So this camera carries Bluetooth, and we have GPS also. And then we have a settings here, which is the function settings, and we have 5 pages, I would say. And the last one here is display level settings. So you could use standard or guide. So this standard, let me see if I could change it. Shooting screen, let's say standard. So let's go to manual. Okay, so this is a standard screen I am used to on my T8i. So that's pretty nice by Canon, in which you could actually select a screen in which you are used to, or you could go to the guided screen. So if you're a rookie photographer or amateur, I think that's pretty good for you. But this guided option, I think I kind of like it, because it gives you the option. You could just move around right there, or you could just roll this button to set it. So I need to give it a try. Okay guys, so let's jump into the video settings for this camera and to see what it's capable of shooting. So at the moment, as you can see, we could shoot, that's a 720p at 60 frames per second. Then we have 1080p at 24 frames per second, 1080p at 30 frames per second, and another 1080p at 30 frames per second. The only thing is that this one is light and the other one is standard. Then we have a 1080p at 60 frames per second, and then we have 4K, so that's 2160 at 24 frames per second. So I'm going to switch over to the T8i, which is right here, and I'm going to do 1080p video, 30 frames per second, and also the 4K. However, this video will not show as 4K when I upload it to YouTube, but it's just for demonstration, because I heard that when shooting at 4K it basically crap the sensor, so you're like zoomed a little. So I'm gonna test that out now. Okay guys, so now I'm shooting on the Canon T8i, and I'm not gonna lie, the quality is extremely crystal clear. I have my shutter speed set at 30, my f-stop at 4.0, because that's the lowest this lens carry me. I'm not sure why is that, because this lens I have right here, it is, let me see if I can get a focus, it is similar, the same lens that's on the T8i, but this one goes to 3.5 to 5.6. The one on the T8i goes to 4 to 5.6, so I'm not sure why 0.5 is missing, and they are the same 18 to 55 zoom lens. So back to this T8i. As I was saying, my shutter speed is at 30, f-stop 4 point. My f-stop is at 4. My ISO is set to 200, and I notice while I'm talking, the whole time I'm talking, my face is actually in focus. So if you are a vlogger, I think this is a pretty good camera. So while I'm in, it does a pretty good job to keep me in focus. So that's a nice feature. The entire time I'm in focus. It has this thing on the screen. Maybe I should use my T8i to see if I can capture it. Alright, to show you guys. So that's the screen there. So I mean, the whole time this thing is like following my face. See, the T6i can't even keep up with the focus, and I'm in focus on the T8i. So I mean, that's pretty good there by Canon. So I'm going to switch over to 4K and see how the camera operates, but I'm pretty impressed. Okay guys, so I've now switched over to 4K. I don't know if you notice there's a difference, but my head actually take up the viewfinder or the entire screen or the frame, whatever you want to call it. So that's a big difference there. With the 4K, it actually zoom. Also, what I've noticed with the 4K, let's see, the dual autofocus thing that try to keep your face in focus all the time, it doesn't work that well. It tends to be all over the place at times. So I'm just gonna grab my T6i and see if I can capture that to show you guys what I'm talking about. So alright, so that's the T6i showing. So as you can see, it cut my face there. As soon as I move, it kind of struggle to find my face. So if you are shooting at 4K, please bear that in mind, that at times you might find yourself out of focus, but it's still not bad. It's just that you get a delay whenever you try to be in focus. So that's a 4K right there. I'm not sure if the audio is any different within 4K and 1080p, but you should be able to see the difference there. Maybe the audio is a bit better than my T6i, I'm not sure, but so far I'm pretty impressed with the camera. So I hope you guys do like this video, and if you do, I want you to give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down, and I want you to make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell, leave a comment below. If you need to purchase this camera, there will be the link below in this description. So there's the link right there, click it. It's only $800 for the camera, and I mean, you couldn't ask for much because the feature that this camera carries is tremendous. So thank you guys for watching this video. Have a good one. Goodbye.